Welcome back to Wake Up, We the People. It's time to be strong.
Wake Up, We the People. Welcome 16-year-old Andrew Demeter to the show. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, George. Thanks for having me on.
Well, great to have you, and I salute you for your understanding of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, your willingness to step outside of the box, if you will, as a young man. You recently had an interesting, experience. I guess I'll just leave it at that with, of course, the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, progressive Nancy Pelosi, infamous Nancy Pelosi. Tell us a little bit what happened and then how C-SPAN reacted to you.
Right, George. So I was in D.C., first of all, to kind of provide some background context for this. I was in Washington, D.C., because I had won a documentary for a contest that C-SPAN annually hosts called Student Cam for high school students, and I won that contest for my video called We the People Genetically Modified About GMOs. And then C-SPAN, part of winning that competition, for the top 5 winners, they flew them down to Washington, D.C., and then on the last day of being in D.C., got to meet up with Leader Pelosi, and that's when I kind of fired her my question about the NSA, and so far that video has yielded over 700 or about 750,000 views, so 250,000 views, which has been pretty incredible. And then the reaction that I got from C-SPAN was pretty interesting too, because, all due respect to C-SPAN's founder, Brian, because he actually congratulated me on this interaction with Pelosi, but they tout themselves to be unbiased and objective, and they had a cameraman at this meetup with Pelosi, and my phone, I was recording the confrontation with my phone, and then halfway through my phone's memory and storage died out. So then I asked to get the footage from C-SPAN, and they said originally that we can't give this to you because we had this agreement with Pelosi's office that we couldn't record audio. Curiously enough, C-SPAN's cameraman had a microphone that was recording audio, as you can see in the video, and so eventually I won the footage back, as you can see, and, it was just a real difficult battle. So it was really incredible overall to have that experience and ask the question to a powerful person.
Oh, you asked about the NSA and the metadata collection of all that controversy by the NSA. Pelosi kind of was taken off guard a little bit. She didn't expect anything that profound from such a young group.
Exactly, George. I think she thought it was going to be an interesting or simple, rather, experience, just kind of to glad hand these winners of C-SPAN's documentary competition, expecting no, real questions by any stretch of the imagination, George. So I think it was really, awakening for Pelosi, hopefully. But it's just representative of how unrepresentative these supposed politicians are that represent the American people, our interests as a whole. And I think that speaks volume. These people are vulnerable, and I don't mean that in a negative connotation per se, but it just means that they're humans too, and we need to recognize that they have as much power as, may be apparent ordinarily, and they may not have as much power, in other words, as we think they do, George.
You call yourself a socio-political and investigative reporter who challenges the status quo. There's certainly evidence with your brief moment with Pelosi. As you see the country today, as you look at Washington, in fact, you say Washington is flipped upside down and inside out. What do you see for your future with the way things are going on?
Well, George, I see the future as very shaky, really. I think it's black and white. We can either be very successful or, it can be very cloudy and very shaky in the future. So I think what I tried to primarily do with this confrontation with Pelosi is show that not only the American people have this true ability and true power over these politicians to just ask them legitimate questions and not be shielded by all these barriers that would otherwise prevent us from doing so, George. But instead, or also rather, we really need to empower the youth instead of having the youth just be apathetic and acquiescing to all authority that they see in life. We need to really challenge, ask questions that the mainstream media just won't.
How did you learn so much at such a young age, Andrew?
I think I'd really have to attribute it in part, if not at whole, to the internet, the advent of the internet, because otherwise, without that, I really just wouldn't have access to the material and the information found. And I think it's showing the true power that we, the people, have, George, instead of these monolithic corporations like the media, like 5 or so corporations own the media, or the couple corporations, handful of corporations that run our food supply. And I think it's just, we need to really decentralize the current paradigm that we're facing, George, and we just need to kind of unite individually yet cooperatively with our individual interests, so we can just have, like you just mentioned, a bright future.
We don't have much time left, Andrew. Wanted to ask you about, I see on your Facebook you have this statement about the religion of statism. Tell us what that is, and are your peers buying into that?
Well, I think the religion of statism is just, like I mentioned earlier, George, just this fact that so many people rather are so willing to acquiesce to authority and so willingly exchange liberty for security, even if that security be false or, an illusion, like we see with the TSA, like we see with a lot of other government programs. And the religion of statism is essentially just the fact that we've become so dependent on government and so far indoctrinated with this illusion that is the faux left-right paradigm that we don't really know how to run our own lives. We don't think of options. The popular argument for, if there was a world without government, hypothetically, is that, well, who would build the roads? Who would be the police force? Well, like I said, we've become so far gone from this idea of individualism that we can't really think of how that would work, when in reality it would be simple. It would just be private organizations that could police and build the roads. So I think the religion is just the fact that, we're so far gone, again, to reiterate that, George.
Well, as you have on your Facebook, I read, "We are weakened when government is strengthened." We here at Wake Up, We the People congratulate you. We agree with you, and we encourage you, Andrew, to stay strong. Obviously, you've opened the door for all kinds of experiences, both challenging and glorious at the same time. Tell us how we can learn more about you, Andrew. I know you're on YouTube. Teen Take.